Ukraine war. Russia says ammonia pipeline blast may end grain deal. Russia has blamed Ukraine for a blast on a key ammonia pipeline and says it may have a negative impact on efforts to renew a landmark grain export deal. Moscow has accused the Ukrainian sabotage group for the blast that damaged the Togolati-Odessa pipeline on Monday. And the Kremlin says it will not renew last year's grain export deal with Kyiv unless the pipeline is operational. But President Vladimir Zelensky denied that allegation and said the explosion was likely caused by Russian shelling. Before the war, the 2,500 kilometers pipeline, which runs from the Russian city of Tagiloti to three Black Sea ports in southern and western Ukraine, exported 2.5 million tons of ammonia annually. But operation on the pipeline ceased after Russian invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. During talks to ensure the export of grain from Ukraine last year, Kyiv and Moscow struck a deal to ensure the safe passage of ammonia through the pipeline, which is key in the ingredient in the production of the fertilizer. The landmark deal brokered by the UN and Turkey was initially agreed in June 2022 for 120 days and has been extended 3 times since. The current agreement is set to expire on 17 July. But speaking to reporters in Moscow, Kremlin Press Secretary Dmitry Peskov said the blast can only have a negative impact on talks to renew the deal. You know that this topic figured as an integral part of the half of the deal that concerned us, so this is yet another complication in terms of the extending the deal. We don't know what kind of destruction there is. We don't know what the Ukrainian side is going to do next, Mr. Peskov added. On Wednesday, Russian Foreign Minister spokesman Maria Zakharova said it would take between 1 and 3 months to repair the damage caused to the pipeline. But Industry and Trade Minister Denis Manturov said on Thursday that Moscow has no access to the damaged section. Ukraine has strenuously denied being behind the blast and instead that Moscow conducted the attack. President Zelensky told reporters that the attack had occurred in a gray zone between territory controlled by Ukraine and Russia and drew a distinction between the explosion and the blast at the Kakova Dam. It's one story when it's the consequences of the war. Yes, the Russia Federation is to blame, but those are the consequences of the war, President Zelensky said. But in Kakova, we understand that this is the terrorism. They mined it in advance and did it with their own hands. We see this as a completely different category, he added. Elsewhere, Russian pro-war bloggers have suggested that a long-awaited Ukrainian counter-offensive has begun in the southern region of the Zaporizhia. Andrei Rudenko, correspondent for Russia state television channel Russia 24, claimed that Ukrainian tanks had launched attacks on Russian lines in the region and said Russian forces had repelled the attack. And Vladimir Ragov, the Russian installed governor of occupied Zaporizhia, told State TV that he believed there had been an attempt at the full-scale offensive for 3 days, even 4 in the region. But Oleksiy Danilov, the secretary of the Ukrainian National Security Council, denied reports of the new offensive and said that when Kyiv does launch an offensive, everyone will know about it. Senior US officials have previously told the BBC US partner SBS News that it is accurate to say that Ukraine counteroffensive is in its opening phases, but that the main thrust has not yet begun.